Morning! I am sitting here waiting for my car to defrost, so I thought I would make a quick video and update you. I am now less than a week away from taking part in my very first Ayahuasca ceremonies. And I don't know whether it's that I'm just surrendering to myself, or I don't know, I'm trying to like live with a little bit more ease. Sometimes I'm eating really, really awesome, and then sometimes I'm not. And that's kind of the story of my life, right? So food aside, what I have found is that so I'm really shaky right now, a little tired. I have found, what will work? I don't want you like in my face, but I have found that my personal intuition and my self-talk and self-coaching and kind of guidance from within has become a lot stronger. I have been meditating in the mornings, and one of the things that I find really beneficial is to actually journal after I meditate. And this may sound really weird to some people, but this is something I'm sharing more and more often. Usually when I journal after I've shifted into that high vibrational space, that meditative space, I get almost like I journal to myself, and it comes from like another place. I just kind of have words that come through me. It's almost almost like something else writes through me. And I mean, it's very simple stuff, but it's stuff that was like not at the surface for me, almost like guidance for how to approach my days right now and what my priorities are, and putting things in perspective. And sometimes it's a bit of tough love. And for me, this type of journaling started happening after I went through the Artist's Way process of writing morning pages every day. If you're not familiar with the Artist's Way, it's a book by Julia Cameron, and it's really powerful. But I found that my kind of intuitive writing started coming through after I went through that. Making yourself write 3 pages every morning for 12 weeks is the length of the process. But you write those 3 pages, even if it's like, I don't want to write, and you write it over and over again until the pages are done, because eventually something starts to come through. And for me, it took about 2.5 pages before I would have like a stream of consciousness writing come through. And now, if I meditate first, it happens almost immediately, most of the time, which is pretty wild. So another thing that's happening, I'm being a lot kinder to myself and being a lot more loving to myself. And I find that, again, there is this, if I give myself the opportunity to not talk myself out of something, but dig a little deeper and try to understand why something is happening, there's this conversation that can happen. But it's catching myself. You know, we do so many things out of habit, and we don't think about them in the after. It's like, oh, like, why did I do that? And I can find myself, I know it's very abstract. It's a very abstract thought, but this is something that I'm noticing, is that my I guess my internal dialogue is shifting, and it's almost like I have, you have like kind of 2 sides to your mind. Sometimes you have like the one that just like, you know, wants to do like the stuff that's unhealthy for you. My struggle is my my binge eating and my unhealthy binge eating habits. And when I can stop and have that conversation with myself, and it's not necessarily talking myself out of it, it's finding out why it's happening, that has shifted for sure. Another totally non kind of intuition or voices in my head thing that has changed since I made the commitment to this journey is my digestion is ping. I am still bloating, but my system is moving a lot more efficiently, and that might be in part to doing my best to follow the dieta or the dieta, the like basically way of eating before doing ayahuasca. I feel like there's a few reasons that you need to follow this. I did a little bit of research, and everyone has slightly different guidelines. Oh, the sun is starting to come through the foggy window. Part of the reasons that there are guidelines like this, there are a few items that you are not supposed to. Is that better? That's totally better. There are a few things that you're not supposed to consume before taking part in ayahuasca. One of the big ones is being on SSRIs, serotonin something reuptake inhibitor. Basically, a lot of antidepressants can cause really, really adverse effects. So people that are on antidepressants that need to go through this, that want to go through this process, need to wean themselves off. I'm fortunate that even though I have been, I have people that have been trying to get me on antidepressants, I have resisted because a long time ago I had a very adverse reaction, and I choose to feel what I feel every day. So diet-wise, food-wise, there are some foods that are high in a certain amino acid or protein building block, and ayahuasca stops the body from metabolizing these proteins. And so if you consume, there's certain foods that are high in these amino acids or proteins, you can actually have like an excess, like a spike that can cause a really adverse reaction. So that's the reason that some of the foods are not recommended, or actually they say like completely eliminate. And I feel like other foods are, because of the possible inflammation response or the possible constipation response, excuse me, because they basically get you to shift to a gluten-free vegan. For the most part, they do allow eggs, but everything else, no dairy, no meat, that type of thing, for 3 days prior. And I think they ask you to follow it between 3 and 5 days afterwards as well. And this is for anyone across the board. And I think part of it is for elimination reasons, part of it probably for spiritual reasons, because there is energy in those foods, and most of those foods come from a scary place. You know, if your food had to be killed before you consume it, there was probably some negative energy there. But things like, they say not to eat raw bananas, and I think that's because most people don't actually eat their bananas ripe. I'm still not eating bananas right now because of it. And yeah, there's a few other foods, but I'm following that as much as I can. The only thing that I've been kind of off track is a little bit of lemon in some salad dressings. Anyway, I'm running out of time like always, but that's kind of my update for now with my very tired, sleepy face. This is just how I am. This is my no makeup selfie. I hope you guys are doing awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!